Welcome to another video in our series Commissioning of a variTRON system. My name is Manfred Schleicher and I work at JUMO as a technical trainer. In this video I will show you how to create a menu structure for a variTRON 500 without writing a single line of PLC code. The visualization is based on a template. This is a configuration file created by my colleagues in the engineering department. At the beginning of the video, I show you the visualization that is available to you through the template. Then I start again from the beginning. I show you how to install the configuration program in CODESYS and the transfer of the template to the variTRON 500. Then the visualization is available to you. Let's get started. I now call up the web visualization of a variTRON 500 to which the template has been transferred. In the browser I enter the IP address of the CPU followed by the port number 8080. And this is the user interface which I have mentioned. Here, for example, you can call up process images which are still empty. You can fill them with content in the CODESYS web visualization. Or here you can call up the controller channels of controller modules and operate them from here. In this menu you can operate program generators. There is also an alarm list and an event list. In this video, I will show you everything you need to transfer the template to the variTRON 500. Then you can call up this visualization. Here you can see the CPU that I use, a variTRON 500 with its input and output modules. DHCP is activated in variTRON 500 by default. This means that the system automatically receives an IP configuration, and I am now reading out the IP address. You need JUMO Smartware Setup variTRON to configure the system. Here I show you where to download the program. Furthermore, you always need CODESYS, and to install CODESYS you use the CODESYS installer. You can also download this from our homepage. Here I show you where to find it. Now you need to download the template, which you can find here. Now install the configuration program and the CODESYS installer accordingly. There is also a PDF in the template download. In the PDF you can see which version of CODESYS is required for the respective version of the template or for the respective firmware. This version must then be installed accordingly with the CODESYS installer. The template is downloaded as a zip file. I now unzip this and get 3 files. This is the actual configuration file, respectively the template. Then the instructions on how to install CODESYS using the CODESYS installer. There is also a file for the CODESYS installer, which I have to use when installing CODESYS.
I now start the CODESYS installer to install CODESYS. In fact, the correct CODESYS version is already on my system. However, I will show you here how the installation of this version is initiated. I go to Add Installation and select the CODESYS version specified in the PDF. Now I select the configuration file that was also made available to me with a template download. I define an installation name and start the installation. Now I start the configuration program. The first start must be made as administrator because further plugins are installed during the first session. Now I open the template. The project is open. This view is called the project map. I will carry out a hardware detection. To do this, however, it is necessary to establish a connection with the system. I specify this connection here. I'm using a CPU of type variTRON 500. I select New Connection and enter a connection name. I enter the IP address of the system and save the connection. Now I set up the connection. To do this, I go to the Data Transfer submenu via the project folder. I check that the connection is selected and click on Connect. In the systems, the user master password 9200 is available by default. This gives me the full access and I therefore enter it here. The connection to the system is established and I can carry out a hardware detection in the hardware assistant. Here I can see all the in- and output modules in the order in which they are positioned in the right of the CPU. To the right of the CPU is a controller module, and in this view I can see how its 3 slots are equipped. The top slot contains a board with an analog input. The middle slot contains a board with an analog output, and the bottom slot is not equipped. In order to recognize the hardware and CODESYS, I have to start it right now. This is done in PLC application. I select the previously installed CODESYS version and I start CODESYS. In CODESYS I can recognize the hardware. I will now translate the program code and check whether the program is error-free. With an extended analysis, CODESYS can provide hints for further optimization of the existing program code. Any potential for optimization is then displayed as an error. However, I switch off this diagnosis. I generate the program code. Here I can see that the program is without errors. I close CODESYS. And here I specify that the changes in CODESYS are also applied in my configuration file. Now I transfer the configuration to the system. In the Data Transfer menu, the settings are made so that almost the complete configuration is transferred to variTRON 500. However, I also want to transfer the user administration to the system, so I also select this for the transfer. I set up the connection and start the transfer. After the end of the transfer, the system restarts and the visualization is available to me.